Hello, everyone. Welcome into Yelling from the Couch. I'm Brent Humphreys. Joining me tonight, it's my co-host, Gage Berdovich. Gage, how are we doing over there tonight? We're trying to stay off the IR over here, by the way. But, Gage, how you doing?
Yeah, all in all, doing okay, I guess. Yeah, we'll just keep it at that. Football season, it's almost here. Steelers, we're filming this Friday night. Last night had their last preseason game. Again, not a lot of offensive starters starting, which kind of makes me question a little bit, but at the same time, I get it. You now lose Derek Harmon for probably a month. Your first round pick on the defensive line. Overall, there's a lot of questions, but a lot of good questions. Like, who's going to be the quarterbacks that you keep? What receivers are you keeping? Who's getting cut? Who in the world is being the starter in the defensive back room that is filled with vets and younger guys? Who's winning the punting battle? As a Steeler fan, I never thought I'd get to say that. I never thought we'd have a good punter. For having to deal with Presley Harvin and Jordan Berry for as long as I can remember, I'll take Corliss Waitman and Cameron Johnston at this point. But doing well. Brent, Bengals? How are they looking? What are we thinking?
So, since last we spoke on this podcast with you, the Bengals had a game on Monday night, and there was some news. Before I get to that, there was some news on Sunday, which they're putting Trey Hendrickson on the trade block because they cannot come to agreement on the contract. And we don't mean they can't come to agreement on money. They've agreed on that. They've agreed on years. It's the guarantee money is what's holding them up. And it's like, really? That's what's holding this whole thing up is the guaranteed money? Are you kidding me? Out of everything? What? It's crazy, man. It's crazy. And then the top three destinations they put on there was the Colts, which Lou Anarumo, I get it. Then the Panthers, and then the Browns. This was like the first three initial ones. And I'm just like, so he's not in it to win a Super Bowl, is what you're telling me. For two, the Bengals aren't trading to the Browns in the division. That's not happening. Now the Raiders have been picking up some steam in this sweepstakes here. And it's like, okay, Max Crosby and Trey Hendrickson over there. That's dangerous for the AFC West, but man, I don't get it.
I don't either, but I'd be okay with sending him to a team that, as long as it's out of the division and not a very good team, all right, cool. Let that team use all of their cap space to extend Hendrickson, give him the contract that he wants. Why not?
Yeah, why not? And see if the Bengals could get a couple of picks out of it or something. I mean, but I don't know, man. It's just guaranteed money is the only thing that's holding them back. And it's like, is that really what we're going to get snagged on here? Is guaranteed money? Like, you got to be kidding me.
Well, and you mentioned about it's obviously not about winning a Super Bowl. Look at Myles Garrett. Oh, I don't want to be here in Cleveland. I don't want to be here. I want to go win a Super Bowl. Signs a $40 however many $1 million extension per year. Oh, well, I'm really happy to be with this Browns organization. It's all about the money.
Yeah, we'll be in it in the future. It'll be our new year next year. I think that's the Browns' motto anyway. 2 years from now, be careful. We're going to be something.
Dallas is, this is our year. Cleveland is next year is our year.
Dallas, they still haven't signed Marka Parsons either, so there's that too. So, I mean, it's not all bad for the Bengals, I guess. They're not the only one with an old and out-of-touch owner who doesn't know how to sign and keep his players happy. I don't know.
I expect between the two, Micah to get dealt first, if they're going to be dealt.
I think it's going to be like a Dak Prescott situation. They're going to sign a deal right before the season starts with Micah Parsons. I don't know,
Parsons, and they don't play a full season?
Yeah, it could be a possibility as well. But, man, I don't know. I don't understand some of these owners, man. You wait too long, and then you end up overpaying them when you could have paid a lot less for them.
But yeah. But what did you think Monday night about the Bengals offense? I don't know. Especially Burrow. He didn't look the sharpest, and he took at least one huge hit from what I saw.
So I had Stephen Compion from Sports with Compion on here the other day. We talked about it a little bit, but I told him Joe Buck may have said the smartest thing he's ever said during the broadcast. Joe Burrow goes all the way back, probably 15 yards down close to the goal line, trying to keep a play alive, and he's just about to get hammered. And Joe Buck's like, go down, Joe. It is August. And it's like, amen. Amen. Go down. Do not. Why are you extending the play in August preseason? What are we doing?
Almost had to rule with Jake Browning here for a couple games.
No. Jake Browning played pretty decent, but who was that? I can't remember who it was last year. Oh, it was Justin Fields. He had his helmet on, chin strap on and everything during like the whole second half. And then, like, third quarter, he undoes the chin strap. Midway through the fourth, the helmet's off completely. He knows he's not playing. That was Desmond Ridder the other night in the second half of the preseason. It's like, when will we see Desmond Ridder? Maybe in the third quarter, maybe in the fourth. Maybe he's not playing. He never did get in the game, so that tells you a whole lot about that situation.
Yeah, that's kind of how it went with the Steelers here last night. Like, Aaron's not playing, which mixed feelings about. One, need a little bit of an in-game action, but on the other hand, is it worth him getting potentially clobbered and us having to start Skylar Thompson or Mason Rudolph week
No.
1 against the Jets? Yeah, it's not worth it. But you start out with Mason Rudolph, doesn't exactly look the best, and then you go to Skylar Thompson, who I think played himself into a roster spot, whether it's with Pittsburgh or a different team. And then Logan Woodside. Week 1 of the preseason, this guy didn't play at all, and he was signed for at least a week at that point. Week 2, it was like, all right, little bit of playing time, little bit. Last night, he got like a quarter and a half, and then they released 11 players today, and his name was at the top of the list.
Was not impressed with him last night.
No. Haven't been impressed with him his entire NFL career, but let alone last night.
I feel like he's been on the Bengals preseason squad a few years back or something. I remember that name. He's a MAC quarterback, right? He's at one of them MAC schools.
I believe so.
Maybe Toledo. I don't know. I can't remember.
He played college football for the Toledo Rockets and was selected by the Cincinnati Bengals in the 7th round of the 2018 NFL Draft.
Yeah, see? It all comes full circle on this podcast right here. You got the Toledo to the Bengals to the Steelers and back to the UFL.
Oh, and also had the Tennessee Titans in 2019 and the Falcons in 2022.
Oh, so he went 2019 to 2022 without playing any NFL ball. Nice.
I don't know about any NFL ball because I think he has a couple stats. He's played in 13 games. He has that's rushing. I'm like, something's wrong here. Where's the passing? At 13 games, he is 4 for 7, 34 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. And then he must have taken a lot of knees, especially in Tennessee. He has 14 rushing attempts for 10 yards and 1 touchdown.
That is where Ryan Tannehill's like, you know what? I'm not going to get hurt this play, coach. And Vrabel's like, yeah, Woodside, get out there. That's what that was.
2021, 5 games, 6 rushing attempts, -6 yards.
Man, yeah, what a career for Logan Woodside. And it looks like it may be coming to an end.
I don't know. By the way it looks, some team will sign him. Who knows?
Probably. Speaking of the Bengals offense the other day, I'm going to overreact quite a bit right now, and I'm going to tell you about a young wide receiver for the Bengals, Mitchell Tinsley, number 82, out here looking like Jamar Chase in the preseason, making all these spectacular catches, these touchdowns. This dude right here could be wide receiver number 6 for the Bengals, and I'm here for it. They drafted Jermaine Burton last year in the 3rd round out of Alabama. He's been in trouble. He hasn't been able to pick up on the playbook. He's missed some practices. He's not worth a headache. Keep Mitchell Tinsley, man. Give me that guy.
I did not know who this Mitchell Tinsley was until I saw your video the other day talking about him. I was like, who? And then I was like, oh, he did have a pretty good game.
Yeah. I was just like, wow, this guy right here, he could get in there, if Chase and them, need a breather or something. Mitchell Tinsley can come in. He could make a play here or there. I mean, come on. Let's go. Mitchell Tinsley time.
So since wide receiver seems to be one of the deepest positions for Cincinnati, who do you think are the 6 that they keep?
All right. So obviously you're keeping T and Jamar.
Yes.
I think Charlie Jones, I think he's going to make a roster. Yossi Bosch. And then it comes down to, let's see, that's 4 right there. Tinsley, I think, played himself into the spot. Even when they interviewed Burrow, he said that he likes Tinsley, the way he's attacked practice and everything. And then you're down to that 6th spot, which is like Jermaine Burton, Isaiah Williams, some names down there at that point in time, right? So
maybe Tinsley is the number 5 or even number 4.
He could be. I mean, I put him in over Charlie Jones for sure. They had Jermaine Burton back there returning kicks and stuff, but I mean, he hasn't done anything too impressive. You got Kendrick Pryor too, I believe, that's fighting for that last wide receiver spot. So, I mean, Mitchell Tinsley's got a pretty good chance here. I know that they're keeping like 4 tight ends, which is like, whoa, what are we doing here? We're going to go New England back with Aaron Hernandez and Rob Gronkowski days or something. Like, what's this?
Did Arthur Smith switch teams? Is he the offensive coordinator now for Cincinnati? And like, wow.
Yeah, so there you've got Drew Sample, Tanner Hudson, Mike Gesicki, and they just signed Noah Fant. So I think they're going to keep all 4 of those guys at tight end. So it may be a 5 to 6 wide receiver type room there, but I think you got to bring Tinsley on. I think he's earned it. Nobody else has looked that good in the preseason besides Chase, but he hasn't played a whole game like that.
This is how I learned that Noah Fant signed with the Bengals. All right, cool.
Yes, that happened a couple of weeks ago. So he's a Bengal now.
I thought he was still in Seattle.
They let him go, and so Mitchell Tinsley time, man. I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
You gotta get a Mitchell Tinsley jersey?
Man, if he makes the roster and he comes out there and he catches a touchdown pass this year, I'm gonna be like, I was on that bandwagon early. Popping my Mitchell Tinsley jersey out there, yeah. 82.
Post a short to the YouTube channel coming back to this video.
82 in your scorecard, number 1 in your hearts, Mitchell Tinsley, future Cincinnati Bengals legend. Speaking of Cincinnati sports, let's talk a little baseball here real quick, Gage. I don't know what the Pirates have done this past week or anything like that besides Tommy Pham not throwing a bat. That was Victor Robles. But besides Tommy Pham getting into it with a pitcher and a catcher about asking about a strike or something like that. Wild.
Yeah, he got into it. The catcher for the Blue Jays, Tyler Heineman, former Pirate catcher, which is even funnier. But I saw a breakdown of it on John Boy.
Yeah, that's where I seen it.
Yeah, he did a whole thing about it. And Tommy Pham lives by a code that only Tommy Pham follows.
Yes.
And he thinks everyone else should follow it. To be fair, at least this year, I have not seen him complain about a strike call that is an edge call.
No.
I can't say much. I mean, at least he didn't, throw punches with anybody or throw a bat at a pitcher or a catcher.
That also was a great breakdown, too. But, I mean, at the same time, the guy, Robles, in the minors on a rehab stint, gets hit, 4 out of 7 plate appearances?
Like that, like, let the guy come up to the majors.
Yeah.
I honestly, first seeing it, like the Instagram highlight, I was like, oh, wow, like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
And I walked in the breakdown, I'm like, you know what? I can understand because I think I would act that way too.
It's all about context, right? So I'm with you too. I seen like the posts of him just throwing the bat, coming out, taking the sunflower seeds and just throwing them on the field. And I'm like, man, this guy's lost his mind. I don't think he'll make it back to the majors with that kind of an attitude. And then you watch the breakdown and you see the whole backstory and everything about this whole series. They've been throwing at him. They've been hitting him and all that. And it's like, I get it. I get it. I see.
The guy's on a rehab assignment from an injury, trying to make it back to the majors. Don't let him go back on the IL and have to go through this again.
Yeah, I mean, I probably would throw my bat too at that point in time. It's like, man, they're actually trying to get me hurt again.
Yeah.
There's no room for that.
I'll throw the bat. I might bat flip the helmet. Like, I'm not too sure, but this is incredible.
I like how when he threw the sunflower seeds out and John Boy was like, it's a good thing those weren't just in a big old gallon thing and somebody's got to clean that mess up. They're in bags at least, so it's easy to clean up. And I was like, never thought of it like that.
I'm curious on how that would go if they were all just, for some reason, solo seeds, just all in the container and they're just all over the field.
I'd say you just play on. Just go on at that point in time. It's not even worth the cleanup.
Have to call timeout because someone runs out of the dugout to grab a bag of sunflower seeds or something.
Man, so the Reds, last time we talked, I was like, all right, we got a shot. And then they were a game and a half out from the Mets. And today, as we said, they're a half a game out from the wild card, even after losing 2 of 3 last week to the Brewers. And then they snap that streak. They snap the Brewers streak. They go and they get 2 or 3 off of the Angels. And yeah, so now the Reds making a push for the playoffs once again, Gage. How exciting
for you. I mean, as we sit here, the Pirates are 54-74, going against the 37-91 Colorado Rockies. The last time these two teams met, it was in Colorado, so I can understand. But it was the most runs I think I've seen scored in a series that involved the Pirates in forever. But as we currently sit, they are playing in PNC Park. Top of the 6th inning, Pittsburgh is winning 5-0. It was a Braxton Ashcraft start, too, so that surprises me the most. That, He only allowed 2 hits.
Hey, think about it, though. The last time the Rockies played, they were against Shohei, and they beat him up.
Yeah.
The Rockies.
But I think the biggest news for the Pirates is the promotion of the number 1 pitching prospect in all of minor league baseball, Bubba Chandler. Bringing him up to the majors, give him a little bit of taste, give him a little bit of service time. But sorry, I have the game on right now, and he just punched some guy out with 100 miles on the corner for his first strikeout. You deploy him from the bullpen. He's been a starter his entire career.
That's a nice little change up.
So instead of, you already moved Andrew Heaney to the bullpen because this guy for the last month has sucked. It might also have something to do with the amount of innings he's pitched because he's coming up on some incentive bonuses, and we know how the Pirates are with money. But he also has an 8-something ERA over the past month. So I can also see that. I don't know who's taking Heaney's spot in the rotation. I thought it would have been Bubba Chandler, but I'm wrong. So what do I know?
Maybe they're going to give him a little bit of time out of the bullpen, and when the September call-ups happen, maybe they'll push him in that starting rotation. You think?
No.
No?
It's Pittsburgh. They wouldn't do something smart like that.
Yeah, there's a reason why our teams haven't done anything at all for the last 30-some years.
I've seen a couple wild card games in my lifetime.
Yeah, the Reds haven't won a playoff series since 1995, so...
I mean, the only playoff memory I have is the Cueto game in Pittsburgh. Yeah, you're welcome. I had to.
All right, moving on. So we're going back to football now, and we are here for the NFC North preview. We have previewed 6 divisions so far. We are down to the final 2, and some may say 2 of the better divisions in football. Maybe the best 2 divisions in football. Maybe. Last year you could say that, maybe, but this year, I don't know. We'll see. So last year, the NFC North made history with a combined winning percentage of .662. The highest ever for a division, sending 3 teams to the playoffs. But the postseason was a bust. 0 wins for the NFC North in the playoffs with 3 teams. The Bears, meanwhile, finished at 5-12, but they showed some flashes, and it was kind of a rocky season for Caleb Williams. Fast forward to 2025, and all 4 teams look a little bit different than they did last year, with major coaching changes, some free agent signings, and some decent drafts. We'll see if anybody can dethrone the Lions, or if the Lions can repeat once again. Gage, let's go ahead and let's get started with what I'll let you say. Who do you want to start with? As you said last week, you didn't know one of your co-hosts was a Chicago Bears fan. You want to start with my Bears, or do you want to go somewhere else with this?
Yeah, you know what? Let's start at the potential basement of the division. Last year, the Chicago Bears ended 5-12, like you mentioned. Their win line this year, BetMGM has them set at 8.5 wins. Big jump for a second-year quarterback. My key question for the Chicago Bears: can Ben Johnson translate his offensive success to Chicago? Why did I lose my train of thought?
Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson. All right. The most coveted coach across the past 2 cycles could be Ben Johnson. He has a fiery demeanor, and that was the number 1 takeaway from Chicago's offseason program. But it's one thing to run an offense while Dan Campbell back in Detroit leads the organization. It's harder to do both. Just go ask some other coaches, Josh McDaniels, Cliff Kingsbury. Ask them how it goes. So it's going to be interesting. And can it translate? I think it's going to be hard. There's definitely not the talent in Chicago that Detroit had. So let's move to the position to watch. I'm going to go to the offensive line. Johnson, just mentioned him, able to create a monster of an offense with a Detroit team thanks to one of the NFL's best offensive lines and plenty of skill position talent. Chicago has the latter. They used early picks on tight end Colston Loveland, wide receiver Luther Burden, but they'll need capable blocking. Last year, they allowed a league-high 68 sacks on Caleb Williams. The Ben Johnson era regime wasted little time. They overhauled the line with 5 new players, and that include starters left guard Joe Tooney, center Drew Dahlman, and right guard Jonah Jackson. So are they going to be able to protect my breakout player, the quarterback Caleb Williams? Last year, awful play call, a mediocre offensive line, and a defensive-focused head coach hampered, I believe, the number 1 pick's rookie year. Those have all been addressed. Plus, the Bears landed potentially one of the best scheme fits in the draft. I mentioned him, Colston Loveland. He could be a higher end version of Sam Laporta. And then you pair him with DJ Moore, Roma Dunze, Luther Burden. Unfortunately, you lose Keenan Allen, but you bring in Burden to replace him. You got Loveland and the pair that I just mentioned. I think that this is going to be the breakout year. Caleb Williams might become the first quarterback in Bears history to pass that 4K yard mark. I know it's amazing that they've never had one, but it might actually happen. So are they better than what they were in 2024? I say most definitely. The scheme changes from Johnson and new defensive coordinator Dennis Allen are very positive, as are the additions of talent in the trenches and the skill positions. The playoffs in year one might be a stretch, especially given how hard this division is. But a 9-win season would be their first above 500 season since 2018. I mentioned 8.5 wins as the win total. I'm going to take the over. I'm going to take them just barely. They're going to have a Pittsburgh Steelers record. Give me 9-8 for the Chicago Bears.
Ooh, wow. So Caleb Williams last year had some flashes. 3,500 passing yards, 20 touchdowns, 16 picks as a rookie. But as you mentioned, he took a league high 68 sacks behind that offensive line. The defense improved late. They were top 10 in turnovers forced, but ranked 27th in run defense. They swept the Green Bay Packers last year. That was something for them. And then they fired Coach Matt Eberflus in November last year, and they hired ex-Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson. We'll see how that goes. And they've added Saints head coach Dennis Allen as a defensive coordinator. In the offseason, they made some moves. They traded for Chiefs guard Joe Thuney, two-time All-Pro, and Rams guard Jonah Jackson. They gave up some picks for that. And then they signed Drew Dalman from the Falcons for stability. Bolstered their defense, and they lost Keenan Allen on offense as well. And in the draft, they drafted Colston Loveland and Luther Burden to help out on the offense. So they went offensive heavy in this year's draft. Williams' chemistry with a new wide receiver so far in preseason seems to be going pretty good. In the game the other day, which is probably a big overreaction against the Bills, I believe the score was like 38-0. If that's any indication, the Bears are going to the Super Bowl, with that. But I don't think anybody from the Bills played that game. You bring back DeAndre Swift at running back. Our receiver DJ Moore almost had a 1,000-yard season last year. Roma Dunze, the jury was kind of out on him last year as a rookie. We'll see how he does this year. I think he'll be a little bit improved. And Luther Burden has got that speed out of Missouri. See how he fits in. And Cole Kmet and Loveland as a duo threat for the tight end. And then the Bears' offensive line, right now, they're 12th ranked out of 32 teams, up from 28th, which will help keep Caleb Williams more protected than he was last year. Hopefully. We'll see. So, you said it was 8.5?
8.5.
I think that I'm going to go over on this, too. I think barely. I'm with you. Like 9 wins in this right here. I think that they're going to be a little bit improved. They've made some moves. They've made quite a bit of moves. They've been aggressive in the offseason, which is showing they're trying to get some help around Caleb Williams. It's just, will he be able to step up? Will he have, I wouldn't call a sophomore slump, because you have to be pretty high to go into a slump. And I don't think he was really that high last year at quarterback. So if he can improve just a little bit with the offensive line, he's got the weapons around him, I think they can turn some more wins out this year. So I like him at 9. So yeah, I'm with you. I think they'll go over on that. Just barely.
I just got to say it. We talked about Tommy Pham here a little bit ago. Guy just smacked a 2-run homer.
Oh, yeah?
It's the Rockies. Ever since he got his eyes checked, he's been hitting the ball just great. So we'll take it. 8-0.
It's crazy what a little eye check will do for a guy, Yeah. So that leads us to the next team. And Gage, who are we thinking here for this next team you want to go over?
Let's go to the Vikings. An interesting team with a brand new quarterback at the helm. Just like Chicago, their win line, 8.5 wins. I don't know how all these teams can have such a high win line. Someone's got to lose. The key question, is J.J. McCarthy an improvement over Sam Darnold? The Vikings, we all know it, they chose to let Darnold walk to Seattle, turning to a 22-year-old sophomore, and what will be, you could consider his rookie season. Minicamp returns, by all reports, are promising. McCarthy impressed him with his efficiency and his arm, comfort, and command of the offense. So, position to watch. Let's just make this all about McCarthy. Let's go to the quarterback room. And I don't know why, but I just typed out enough already? Question mark. The Vikings also chose to forego the Aaron Rodgers ship. They were also in contention to get Rodgers, and we know he ended up in Pittsburgh. But they chose to go all in on JJ McCarthy. When, there's been some quotes going around. What are the top 5 needs for a winning season in Minnesota? And I could answer this with McCarthy's knee, his arm, his feet, his eyes, and his mind. The Vikings secondary, however, also deserves a mention. They could improve it quite a bit. They just traded away on the defensive front Harrison Phillips, who I don't know why you trade that guy away. I thought he was going to finish out his career in Minnesota. Man, was I wrong. So breakout player, let's keep this train rolling. JJ McCarthy, of course, the world-class infrastructure that helped resurrect Sam Darnold's career and let Kirk Cousins shine is even stronger now. They have an improved interior offensive line. You get the return of star left tackle Christian Darrisaw, and skill position talent give McCarthy every tool needed. Expectations, I say, are rightfully high. Are they better than what they were in 2024? This is where I'm going to turn the script and say no. If the number 10 pick of 2024 plays better than Sam Darnold, then yes. However, it's going to be his first full season. He's coming off of injury. I think the Minnesota Vikings finish in the basement of the NFC North this year. 8.5 wins is a win total. Give me the under.
So the J.J. McCarthy era ends. I mean, this is the J.J. McCarthy section of the video right here, as you can tell. Last year, the Minnesota Vikings, they went to 14-3 last year, runners up in the NFC North, lost in the wild card. Sam Darnold had a great season unless you blitzed him towards the end, and when they found that out, he was all in trouble. So he heads off to Seattle. Don't know how well he's going to do without head coach Kevin O'Connell. But they had an elite defense last year, 47 sacks under defensive coordinator Brian Flores, who is back. Kevin O'Connell also back. Free agency, they signed Colts center Ryan Kelly, Isaiah Rodgers. They traded for 49ers running back Jordan Mason, who had a decent season last year filling in for Christian McCarthy. So you got that 1-2 punch there with Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason. Could be something. And as you mentioned, they traded defensive tackle Harrison Phillips away, and then they lose. Sam Darnold goes to Seattle. So J.J. McCarthy, what will he do this year as a rookie? I don't know. You don't know, really. He didn't really impress me a whole lot his season at Michigan. He was decent, but they ran the ball a lot at Michigan. They were more of a running team. How will that work with him with some weapons out there? He's got Justin Jefferson. Jordan Addison's not playing the first few weeks, but he'll be back eventually. TJ Hawkinson, he's got weapons around him. He's got some running backs too. So they've got some talent on that offensive side for sure. It'll be interesting to see how it was. The weaknesses for this team is the inexperience for J.J. McCarthy, of course. So you predicted them to go. The over-under was
8.5. I predicted under
8.5. 14 wins last season. I've got them going under as well. I'm with you. I think they're going to be in the basement of this division. I think the Chicago Bears are going to get 9 wins. I don't know how many Minnesota's going to get. Not everybody's going to come out of here with 8-9 wins in this division. It's just no way possible. But I like Minnesota to take a big, huge step back this year. But like you said, if J.J. McCarthy can come out and show something, which Kevin O'Connell. Easy for me to say all them times I just said it. Seems to be like the quarterback whisperer. So if he can get through to J.J. McCarthy, maybe they do have a better season. Nobody expected them to go 14 wins last year with Sam Darnold. So we'll see. But I've got them going under 8.5 too. I think that's a lot. So there's the Vikings. All right, where do you want to go next? There's 2 teams left. You want to go Green Bay?
Yeah, you know what? Let's go to Packer Nation next. The Packers last year finished in 3rd at 11-6. What a record to have to sit in 3rd. But their win line this year is set at 9.5. My key question, is Jordan Love good enough? Aaron Rodgers, when he was in Green Bay, he was 27 when he won a Super Bowl. So was Brett Favre. Guess how old Jordan Love turns this year? 27. Can history repeat itself? I highly doubt it. But Green Bay's $220 million quarterback will definitely need to improve after a shaky 2024 to join Rodgers and Favre in that conversation. My position to watch, let's stick on the offensive side and go to the wide receiver group. Good luck finding a deeper room of receiving talent in the NFL. Green Bay, they even pulled a Travis Hunter and converted one to cornerback. Not quite Travis Hunter, it's Bo Melton, but still, they converted one to corner. See how that works out. The problem, though, is that there's no proven number one option at receiver. So to address that, Green Bay drafted wide receivers Matthew Golden in the first and Savion Williams in the third. All reports is that Matthew Golden has impressed everybody within the Packers organization. Williams, a little bit, but let's stick to the wide receiver room. My breakout player, he's kind of had a breakout already in his career, but he's never been fully healthy. Give me Jaden Reed. Reportedly, uncertain concerns about Reed's position as the team's number one receiver after the draft. However, there's been a lot of positive things after the draft. Head coach Mike LaFleur. Head coach Matt LaFleur, quote, he's been outstanding. Again, I read quotes on this show, and they are the most vague things. So, yeah. Are they better than what they were in 2024? It's going to be hard. I think they're about similar to what they were. Green Bay's biggest loss was former Pro Bowl corner Jair Alexander. They cut him early in June to free up $17.1 million in cap space. Jair, he was rather... my God, my words. Jair was rarely healthy, but his departure means questions about their cornerback room. Otherwise, this looks like a slightly improved version of the 2024 Packers. If Love takes a step, this team could surprise in the playoffs. Now, the record last year, like I said, was 11-6. 9.5 is the win total. I'm going to take the over. I'm willing to bet they finish 10-7, 11-6 again.
Yeah, the Green Bay Packers, they're one of those teams where you seem like every year they're at 9-8. I mean, it's kind of like Mike Tomlin, right? 9-8, 10-7. They're in as a wild card team since Aaron Rodgers has left. And that's a credit, I believe, to head coach Matt LaFleur. It's easy for both of us to say, like Mike LaFleur, Matt LaFleur. Either way, this guy's a pretty good head coach with what he's got, right? Because do we know if Jordan Love is really the next guy? As you said, Brett Favre, Super Bowl at that age. Rodgers, Super Bowl at that age. Is it Jordan Love's turn? No, I don't think it is. But I think he's a decent quarterback. I don't think he's great. Just mediocre at best, I believe. It's a make or break year for Jordan Love right now. It could be a breakout year for him, or it could be just like every other year he's had so far. Nothing impressive, nothing horrible either, though. He's doing good enough just to get a spot. He has some games where you're like, okay, this guy's pretty good. And in other games, you're like, okay, that guy's out there. And that's about it. He's got running back Josh Jacobs, who had a pretty good, decent season last year. Pretty good, decent. That's pretty good. He had a decent season last year, Josh Jacobs, in his first year in Green Bay. And then you've got Christian Watson at wide receiver. Jaden Reed as your breakout player, who I feel like he's kind of like, he's been in the league a little bit longer, so he's had a little bit more of a sample size than what we've talked about Marvin Harrison Jr. We always talk about Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be the breakout game. It's a breakout game for him, breakout season. That kind of feels the same way about Jaden Reed every year. Like, Jaden Reed's got all this speed. You could put him anywhere you want, and something just doesn't click with him, it seems like. Will that change? I don't know. But they drafted Matthew Golden for a first-round pick. The first time they have drafted a wide receiver for a long time. Like, Aaron Rodgers is always like, yeah, I need some help out here at wide receiver. They're like, yeah, let's get you a third-round guy. Let's not do the first round. Let's go defense. We need defense. And he leaves a few years later, and they're like, you know what? We need a wide receiver in the first round. Let's go get him. They've got some weapons, though. I mean, like you said, running back's good. The wide receivers, a lot of unknowns. You got Tucker Kraft, Luke Musgrave at tight end. On the defensive side, you got Rashawn Gary, Kenny Clark, Jair Alexander. I don't know when. I mean, I get it was to save some room with the cap, but I feel like he's still really good. You let him go and bring him into our division? Like, come on, Green Bay, be better than that. You've got to think of other teams instead of yourself at some point in time. Don't bring Jair into our league like this, into our division. And you got Xavier McKinney over there, too. So they've got some weaknesses. And the offensive line's got some question marks. And the secondary, I believe, now has some question marks. Who replaces Jair over there? Will they have anybody? I know he was injured a little bit, but still, come on, So their over-under was, once again,
Their over-under was 9.5.
9.5. This seems like a perfect time to go under on this one, too. Give me 9-win Green Bay here. 9-8. Sorry, Gordon. Buddy of mine's a big Packers fan, and I've got to let him down right here. I feel like he's going to be 9-8 this year.
Well, for some fan bases, that's perfect. Be just over 500.
Yeah, mediocrity at its best.
Yeah, very much.
And that narrows it down to one last team, and that is the king of the jungle of this division, the Detroit Lions, the last couple of years. Gage, tell me about Detroit. They're without both coordinators. Can they repeat?
Yeah, without both coordinators, they finished 15-2 last season. Their win total is set at 10.5 this year, so a big decrease from what their record was last year, but still projected to finish first. My key question, you basically just talked about it. Can new coordinators replicate the success of Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn? History has littered itself with talent-rich teams struggling after losing two coordinators to head coaching gigs. A couple examples. The Eagles lost offensive coordinator Shane Steichen and defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon after their 2022 Super Bowl run, resulting in one very forgettable season before the replacements were fired. The 2013 Bengals with Jay Gruden and Mike Zimmer. The 2004 Patriots, Charlie Weiss and Romeo Crennel. The 49ers in 1994, Mike Shanahan and Ray Rhodes, all also failed to win a Super Bowl after similar losses. However, before you write off the Lions, Detroit brought in two new coordinators, offensive coach John Morton, defensive coordinator Kelvin Shepard. Maybe they can replicate a little bit of Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn's style, but it's going to be very hard to do that. Well, let's go to the defensive side. My position to watch is the edge. Aiden Hutchinson was probably Defensive Player of the Year before his Week 6 injury, after which the Lions traded for Zadarius Smith. Now Hutchinson is healthy, and Zadarius remains a free agent who wants to return to Detroit. If Smith is back in the Detroit Blue, the pass rush outside, which was a weakness of the Lions, pair him with Hutchinson, it becomes a strength. And also, the surprise retirement of center Frank Ragnow should give Detroit the necessary cap space to bring Smith back in, pair him up with Hutchinson, and let that defense wreak havoc. My breakout player, let's go to the offensive line. Guard, Christian Mahogany. Now, Jameson Winston?
That's a different guy.
Yeah. Wow, Jameson Williams receives his annual offseason breakout chatter. Last year, he had 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns. I think that precludes him from this category. So the line to know, I mentioned Mahogany. He is a 6th-round pick in 2024 who impressed in spot starts last season. He had an 81.6 overall PFF grade, and that ranks 7th among 136 qualifying guards. He'll slide right into the starting left guard role, vacated by the new Tennessee Titan Kevin Zeitler. Defensive line, I think, should remain a strength for his team. Are they better than what they were in 2024? Maybe. Detroit lost key players along their line, star coordinators, but thankfully, they kept Hank Fraley, one of the league's best offensive line coaches. If their defense can stay healthy, this remarkably talented team has top 5 units, I believe, on both sides of the ball. It's going to be hard to replicate a 15-2 season. But the win line, 10.5, I'm going to take the over on it, and I think Detroit wins the division. They might not win a playoff game, but they won the division.
Last year, 15-2, NFC North champs, number 1 overall seed. The very first game they play, the Washington Commanders, and Jaden Daniels comes in and takes them out. They were dreaming of a Super Bowl for the first time ever in Detroit, and those were dashed away pretty quickly for what was, for the most part, a fun team to watch all season long. That offense was just a juggernaut, and the defense gave up a ton of points, which made it for a shootout every time they hit the field. Jared Goff was great last year. 4,500 yards, 30 touchdowns. The run game, Gibbs and Montgomery, the 1-2 punch there, over 2,000 yards combined. The defense was, bad. Injured. Secondary was torched. 28 points per game allowed last year. It's just not good. They lose offensive coordinator Ben Johnson, which was that a lot of the success on offense? We'll see. And defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn to the Jets. They promoted quarterback coach John Morton and linebacker coach Kelvin Shepard to defensive coordinator. They're keeping everything in-house. That may help. That may hurt. You never know. Sometimes you promote within, it's not the best thing. just as the Cincinnati Bengals at certain times. So in free agency, they signed DJ Reed, Avonte Maddox, and Roy Lopez. They lost Frank Ragnow to retirement. Kevin Zeitler's gone. Carlton Davis gone. And they drafted Tyleek Williams, defensive tackle out of Ohio State. Tate Ratledge out of Georgia as Ragnow's maybe replacement. Hutchinson was injured last year, coming back off of an injury. How will he play? Will he be as dominant as he was his first year and a half in the league? Time will tell. If he can be like he was before, that defense will be much improved. Even if you get just one player back on defense that is dominant like that, it could change the whole complex for the rest of the defense. On offense, Jared Goff, will he be able to replicate what he did last year? I don't know. He's getting older. Time will tell. But he's got all kinds of weapons around him. Weapons everywhere. The two running backs, Jamison Williams or Jamison Winston, whichever one you prefer. Amon-Ra St. Brown. That guy right there is just a tough wide receiver and can go make some plays when you need him to. Sam Laporta as a tight end. I mean, the offense has got it, once again, to make a big run. Will they make a big run? 10.5 is their over-under? I like them to go over on this. I don't think they're getting to 15 wins. I don't think they're getting to even 13 wins. But I could see them winning 11 or 12 and winning this division because the rest of the division, as I predicted, no more than 9 wins. So they can get 12 wins, 11 wins, and win this division by 2 to 3 games. And I think that Dan Campbell is a good enough head coach. We'll see, though, if it was a Ben Johnson thing or if Dan Campbell's some of the reason for it. He wasn't a coordinator before he got the head coaching job, and he's done an amazing job since getting it. So I like Detroit to get that over, and I like for them to win this division. Starting to lose my voice there a little bit. But yeah, so I like Detroit to win this one. So who do you got as this division's MVP for this season?
MVP, I'm going to do something a little bit different. Give me the team that I think is going to win the whole thing. Let's go to Detroit. Let's go to the defensive side. I think Aiden Hutchinson. I think the game record that he's going to be the reason for a lot of the success if Detroit has it.
Nice. I'm also going to go to Detroit. And I'm going to go on the offensive side of the ball, and I'm going Jahmyr Gibbs. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to have a monster season back there at running back, and I think that he is going to be the MVP of the division this year.
I thought about going Gibbs, but I was like, you know what? I got to do a little bit different. Let's change it up. We haven't done a defensive player, I don't think, for an MVP in one of these, so why not?
Oh, what's his name? Abdul Carter. We both picked Abdul Carter last week. No, that was rookie. Sorry. You're right. You're right.
That was the year, yeah.
You're right. That's on me. So, speaking of rookie of the year for the division, who do you think would be the rookie of the year for this division? Not a lot to choose from, I'll tell you.
Not a lot to choose from, but let me go to the Packers. Packers wide receiver core. Give me Matthew Golden.
I laugh because that is exactly where I was going with it, because if you look at the rest of the rookies on this, defensive tackle, offensive tackle, center, and I'm like, Matthew Golden? That's the guy right there.
I was between him and Luther Burden, but I think Matt Golden has the better year.
Yeah, you're right. There's Luther Burden too there, but yeah, because he's got a potential to be the number one in Green Bay. I don't think Luther Burden's going to be the number one with DJ Moore and Rome Odunze over there.
No,
he's a 2 at best.
The only way he'll be the number one is if guys get hurt. Whereas with the Packers, at least no one is set in stone. Maybe Jaden Reed has the best chance of being number one, but after that, it's murky waters.
Yeah, you got like Christian Watson and the rest of the crew, Romeo Dobbs. I mean, it's not
Romeo.
Yeah, most people do for good reason. Yeah. Well, that does it for our NFC North preview. As we got the Lions, then I think we've got the Bears.
Yes.
Then the Packers. Bears and Packers are kind of, you might have the Packers before.
Yeah, they're kind of intertwined a little bit. I honestly, either one, but I know for certain. Lions win, Vikings finish in the basement.
Yes.
Packers and Bears just have a dogfight for second and third.
And I think last year, there was 3 teams that got in the playoffs. This year, I think only 1 team from this division gets in.
Yeah, 1, maybe 2, if they're lucky to squeeze out a wild card spot. But I agree. I think only 1.
This division takes a big step back this year. I believe they play. Who's the 2 divisions they play? The AFC North, and do they play the NFC East? Maybe.
I have no idea.
I know it's the NFC North, but I'm thinking it's the NFC East. If that's the case, that just confirms everything we said about one playoff team.
Yeah. Looking at it right now, they got if you're looking at the East, they got the Cowboys, Giants, and Eagles. So yeah,
Yeah.
NFC East.
Two of the tougher divisions to get for the AFC North, the AFC North and the NFC East. So yeah, that's why they're only getting one playoff team this year.
Yeah. Very hard schedule for all the teams.
Gage, you got anything else you wanna mention here on the podcast before we
No,
head
it's
off?
still 8-0, bottom of the 8, so Bubba Chandler has I'm sure he's still going potentially, but has thrown, I believe, 3 scoreless innings in his debut. At least 1 K. I don't know how many, I haven't been watching, but pretty solid start, even if it is against a pretty bad team.
And the Reds are out west playing Arizona here in just a little bit, hopefully for a win, hopefully a Mets loss, and the Reds are in the wild card spot the next time we get on this podcast and we talk the best division in football. We've saved the best for last, the
And
AFC North.
yeah, we timed it perfectly too, because then football starts right after that. What else could we have asked for?
Perfect timing. Like, we did it. We did it. We're almost here, though. And then after that, it'll be time for our picks every weekend. Man, I can't wait to get into those.
I'm so excited. And you know what? I know at least my record last year was pretty good. Looking to improve on it.
Yep, my record was pretty good last year as well. I mean, I'd put our records up against anybody's there just picking them, but, we'll see how it goes this year. Do we go out on a limb? Like last year, one of us kept going to pick the Panthers for an upset earlier in the year because they looked decent, and then it didn't work out so well. But then they started playing a little bit better at the end of the year, and it's like maybe we weren't that crazy going to the Panthers.
Yeah, I think maybe this year that team is the Saints. We're gonna
It's
be
definitely
picking
the
some up.
Saints.
Yeah, picking some upsets for the Saints. Totally gonna happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Hunter Shuck, Hunter Deckers, Tyler Shuck, whoever, it don't matter. I mean, what
Even if you compare the two, they're still an awful quarterback.
Spencer Rainer, Spencer Hayner, whatever, Jake Rattler, it doesn't matter. But that'll do it for us here, and we will see you all next week with, like I said, the best division, the AFC North. See ya.